Now this fantastic little cooker will actually do all kinds of stuff. It'd be soup, stew, bean chili, poultry, rice, different stuff. You can adjust it automatically, or it can also be used as a pressure cooker or a slow cooker, as you wish. Now the amazing thing about this is that you don't have to do any guessing. If I want to do poultry, for instance, all I have to do is to press on a button and it will come up automatically. In this case, I'm going to do beef stew. I'm going to simply press on meat. It's going to adjust it for 35 minutes and it's done. Today we're going to prepare a delicious comfort food that your whole family is going to love, beef stew. Now here's a list of the ingredients. Some pre-cut stewing beef, enough for 3 servings in this package. And by the way, you could substitute the beef for chicken or veal if you prefer, and it's the same recipe. Vegetable broth, you could use chicken or beef broth. I like the vegetable because it has a neutral taste. 540 milliliters of spicy stewed tomatoes. Slow cooker vegetable mix. You could use fresh vegetables, but this does really nicely and it's rather inexpensive. 3 small potatoes, 1 medium-sized onion, and a variety of spices. Now don't go overboard on the spices because a pressure cooker really amplifies the taste. Dice the onion, and here's my shortcut method. So I cut off a small slice on one side to make it easier to cut. It saves on fingers. Peel and rinse the potatoes. You may choose to put more or less than the 3 that I mentioned, but I love potatoes, but you could use carrots, celery, or other if you prefer. Pour 3 heaping soup spoons full of your favorite flour into a plastic bag and pour in the spices. You could use simple salt and pepper here to your liking. Now here I'm using herb de Marie, which is a blend of sea salt combined with herbs and vegetables. You could use Mrs. Dash if you have hypertension and have a restricted salt diet. A level soup spoon will do here. Next I add in a level soup spoon of steak spice and mix thoroughly after zipping the bag shut. You don't have to be this precise. I cut down the package of beef cubes into 3 portions to yield approximately 1.5 pounds of meat. Now, obviously, you don't want to simply dump these large chunks into the cooker. We need to cut them down to nice bite-sized chunks. So we'll cut them down like so. And we'll dump them into the bag with the flour and spice like this. And to prevent freezer burn and keep the natural freshness of the meat, I vacuum seal the other 2 portions of meat. Date them and drop them into the freezer. They'll stay fresh for months this way. Now you could use freezer bags, but don't do as good a job at keeping the freshness. Just make sure to take out as much air as you can if you use them. Now shake up the meat, flour, and spices thoroughly to coat all of the meat pieces, and we'll take them over to the stove while the skillet and oil heat up. Leave the cooking pot in the off mode and take off the cover. Now we're ready to start cooking like a pro. I like to control my salt intake, so I choose less salt broth. The brand doesn't matter, and besides, you're already using enough salt in the meat mixture. Now here's the hardest part for amateurs. Pouring all of this stuff into the pot, starting with the broth. Then throw in the diced tomatoes, then the vegetable mix, or an equivalent portion of diced up vegetables to your liking. This is a 750 gram bag specifically for cookers. Next, throw in the diced onions and the diced potatoes. You don't need to put them into bowls like this. I just did this for illustration purposes. Otherwise, just cut them and dump them into the pot. The high pressure cooker will take care of this for you. Now comes the spices. Again, you might want to experiment with the taste because high pressure cooking really accents especially the spicy stuff. And don't forget, you have already spiced up the meat, and that's going to be spread into the mix. Here I'm using about a half capful of each: thyme, rosemary, and crushed red peppers. About a level teaspoon of each. If you know your way around spices, add in your own touch, but don't write to me that my recipe is no good if you go out of bounds. I put the skillet and oil on high for a few minutes, and you don't want the oil saturating the meat, so here's a simple test. Simply deposit a small piece on the oil, and when it starts to fizzle, throw in the rest. Spread the cubes out evenly in a single row so that you can control the cooking. You just want to brown them evenly on all sides without overcooking them. This will seal in the flavor and give your meat a nice texture. Make sure to separate out the pieces and brown them evenly on all sides. Now, throw the meat into the pot and spread out evenly on top. Again, do not mix. Just leave the meat spread evenly on top of the veggies. And there you go. You have the makings of a fantastic comfort food fit for a chef. You might have noticed also that I haven't put in the peas or corn into the mix. That's because I don't want them to get mushy. If you wish to add them in, let this mix go through the cooking cycle and leave aside to add in at the end. Nothing will happen here until you put on and secure the lid. When pressure cooking, don't forget to turn the knob to the pressure cooking setting, like so. Next, you need to choose a cooking time. Now, since we're making a stew, you need to simply touch on the meat button and the cooker will adjust automatically for 35 minutes. I would remind you that this is 35 minutes of high pressure cooking time. The pot needs to heat up and build pressure before starting a 35-minute countdown. Once the valve is sealed and the high pressure cycle has started, it will automatically start counting down so you know exactly when dinner's on. Once the cycle is completed, it'll chime out to let you know it's completed the cycle. Just one more little step to go. You need to release the pressure valve. Now, whatever you do, don't place your hand over it. You will get scalded with a high pressure steam. If you don't feel comfortable, simply click it over with a spoon or something. Once the pressure has dropped, the safety valve will drop, indicating that there is no more pressure in the pot, and it's safe to take off the lid. If you wish to add in peas and or corn, you can do it now. For extra taste, add in about 2 tablespoons of Lea and Perrin sauce. You might want to add in the sauce with the spices, but I forgot, so don't tell anybody. They won't notice. I've added in about a cupful of tender, fast-cooking peas here. Just stir them in and leave for a few minutes and check this out. Wow! If you wish, you could add in a mix of flour and water to thicken up the mixture. To do so, you simply pre-mix a 1/4 cup of flour with a 1/4 cup of water to make a paste and stir in. Otherwise, if you just drop in the flour, it'll make small dumplings, and you don't really want to have that. So here you have a 4 liters of stew, which can be cooled down and stored in the fridge for days for handy meals on the go. And there you go. You may add a pinch of grated cheese or a spoonful of sour cream, maybe croutons on top. You simply can't spoil this no matter what. Now, let me know how you make out. It will encourage me to provide more foolproof recipes to have you cook like a chef. Bon appétit.